Lake George, New York, idyllic holiday location in the Adirondacks, and the historic setting for Fort William Henry. Made famous from James Fenimore Cooper's novel and the assorted movie versions of The Last of the Mohicans. The fort stands at the southern tip of Lake George, a crucial location during the French and Indian War. It guarded the route between Canada and the American colonies. Control of this waterway meant control of the frontier. Built in 1755, Fort William Henry was a British stronghold. It saw fierce combat during the famous siege in 1757. After days of heavy bombardment by the French under General Montcalm, the British surrendered. In the aftermath, retreating soldiers were attacked by Native American allies, the French. Over time, the original fort fell to total ruin, but in the 1950s it was rebuilt from the ground up. Today it stands as a faithful reconstruction. Visitors can explore many exhibits filled with rich history of life in the 18th century, military over the decades, walk into the powder magazine, buried deep to protect against explosion. The Native American exhibit tells the story of the peoples who lived and fought here. And the daily life of British regimental units. The military crypt honors the soldiers who perished. The military dock exhibit examines the discovery of artifacts in the lake.
The French and Indian War.
Every time we take a measurement, we analyze an artifact.
And history comes to life through live reenactments of muskets and cannons.
British redcoats, what people most typically think of when they're thinking of a British fort. They actually only made up a fairly small percentage of the soldiers that are here. The majority of the soldiers, they are colonists, people who've been born here in the New World and are being paid by their individual colonies to be here. So it varies in terms of what you're wearing, what you're equipped with. It all really sort of depends on where you come from. If you come from New England, Massachusetts, Connecticut, you're quite lucky. Bit rambunctious in those colonies, a bit militaristic. They're also highly organized, and so they were issued full colonial uniforms, roughly 75 pounds of camp gear, as well as were issued a musket by their colony. If you're like myself, though, from the great colony of New York, or say from New Hampshire, you may not be so lucky. The provincial governments may not be able to provide you with anything at all. They may tell you to bring your own clothes from home, bring your own weapons, things like knives, tomahawks, stuff a bit more suited for running around fighting in these North American hills. Because you're moving so fast, constantly performing a task, and you need to keep all the soldiers in line performing the same task at the same time. To keep this rhythm and repetition amongst the soldiers, you have to have drummer boys and fights at the ends of the lines playing out the orders. So that way all you have to do as a soldier is listen and know what task you're supposed to be performing in this incredibly fast-moving ballet of trying to get as many walls of lead going towards the enemy as possible. Literal walls of lead. Also, it should be noted, not everyone in the British military speaks English. You have German units, what we would consider today Pennsylvania Dutch, as well as from mainland Germany, Austria, Switzerland, some of the other low countries as well. Then you also have Irish units who are commanded by Scottish Highlanders and who speak Gaelic, which is nothing like English, folks. I'm not going through all 25 commands though. That's far too much for you guys. I'm just gonna skip to the last three. Make ready, present, and give fire. Make ready, I will pull the cock back into the full cock position, at which point it's pretty much gonna be ready to go. Next, I will present at the enemy. Nothing about aiming. Present just means, general direction, business end towards the enemy. Get them through teamwork. And then I give fire. This is a gentleman's war. I'm not a savage. I don't just fire like a barbarian. I give fire, the enemy will receive my fire, etc. Now this is a gun, folks. It should go boom. Should. Guys ready? Let's do this. Make ready, a present, a give fire.
Cool. Everyone ready? Yes. All right. So, right there. Make ready. Give fire.